Test.
Testes, buddy.
And we're back.
So my old band Lechuga, some rumblings about somebody trying to hit me up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We'll see how that goes.
All right.
I'm not sure. Honestly, I think I've forgotten how to play most of the songs.
Yeah.
It wouldn't take me long to remember them, but whatever. I think I might be ready to play music again. I'm not sure. I'll know by the end of next month because I'm playing at my favorite venue in Nashville.
All right.
Marathon Music Works. Come on out to the Music City Hero Coalition benefit show at Marathon Music Works on June 28th. It's a Saturday. Tickets are $15, $30 for VIP. There'll be themed drinks and a small menu. There's a lot of local musicians getting together, playing a bunch of covers, having a good time. So just, if anybody out there in listener land wants to come to Nashville on the 28th, you can meet me because I'm only on one song.
Which one?
I'm playing Show Me How to Live by Audioslave.
Oh, that's what I was listening to earlier today.
Yeah. So this is the second episode in our quasi batch record because we recorded last week and now we're recording this week.
Yeah.
Because we're both going to be unavailable next week.
We'll both be on assignment.
Yeah, we'll both be on assignment. Like Cameron's on assignment tonight.
Can't have all three on assignment.
No, all three of us will be on assignment next Thursday when we usually record these things. So raise hell, praise Dale.
So this is episode 15.
Yeah, episode 15.
Yeah.
We're there, buddy. So, odd number episode means I get to start. Yay. On last episode, I brought you guys some holes. Sweaty holes, pink ones on fire, brown holes, mushy holes, mouth holes. So this week, I decided to go the opposite direction and bring you guys mountains. Or more specifically, there's been some temples found around the globe under things that just look like mountains. They look like natural rock formations, but you get guys in there and archaeologists and stuff, and turns out they ain't fucking mountains. This first one though is not exactly one of those, but I thought I'd do my honorable mention first. This is Kailasa Temple. This is a temple in India that is carved completely out of rock or a mountain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's considered a megalith. It's carved into a cliff face, and it's got rooms. It's 107 feet tall.
Wow.
Yeah, there's 34 caves in that little area. I guess they consider the rooms caves. So they say that the excavation of the temple, because it wasn't really built, it was carved and kind of dug.
Into. It's like
happened
or something.
Somewhere around 756 to 773, around the time of Krishna, and some of it was completed later. But it's very intricate. It's very pretty, and it is insane that 1,300 years ago that
people were carving.
Yeah, and things are so precise.
Yeah.
And everything. But people say stuff like, "How did they get things so precise?" Dog, they didn't have anything else to do.
Well, they're saying. I was watching a documentary about the ones over in Egypt, and like that big, huge, like the unfinished obelisk.
Yeah.
And there's like you can actually still see today where it looks like they used some type of vibration or like sonic waves maybe.
Yeah.
For carving because the
that's
way
crazy.
it's carved into that material, and I guess it's like really super hard, dense.
Yeah. Well, I'm not getting into conspiracy theories. I'm just saying, like, they didn't have the internet. They didn't have books.
Yeah, they didn't even have. Yeah.
A lot of them couldn't read. They didn't have anything else to do. They say that Leonardo da Vinci could freehand a perfect 360-degree circle, right?
Yeah.
What the fuck else is he gonna do? He ain't got shit else to do, dog, but sit there and draw. How many like diaries of his have they found with like crazy little contraptions and shit?
Oh, you got his time.
Yeah, you got time. It's like being in prison, but guess what? You're not in prison.
Yeah, you just living life.
Like, I'm sure the only difference between being in prison back then and not is the food. Yeah. And the fact that you can't just go for a walk when you want to. Because, you can still get your dick sucked if you want to. It might not be what you want on the other end of it, but it can still happen. So I'm just saying, like, there wasn't really shit to do back in those days. So, of course, they shit's gonna be like precisely cut and whatnot, because
That shit crazy.
you know what other option is there? You know, they're not gonna half-ass it and go back inside and play fucking PlayStation like I'm gonna do. You know, oh, time for Rocket League. Fuck this. You know, I've got a 3/4 finished fucking coffin shelf in my garage that I haven't touched in like 6 months. Like, they don't have the shit that we have, you know, like they didn't even really have jobs for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, my job is to do this, and it's literally my whole life. I do this, I go home to my wife, we do the business, I have 12 kids to take over the farm. End of life. That's it. Yeah, right.
That's how most of them got their names, like John.
Yeah, what they
Blacksmith.
did. Yeah, Smith and fucking Henry is actually a royal name. So just so you
surname.
know that. Yeah, King Henry. French.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have no clue where it comes from. All right, so the next thing I'm going to bring you is the Pyramid Mountains of New Mexico. So there's these mountains in New Mexico that just straight up look like pyramids, and apparently they are actually mountains, but I mean, you can't believe that.
Yeah.
Nobody's tried to excavate it or anything, so
They got accounts of pyramids like all over the globe. They even got them under the water.
Yeah,
Like under the ocean floor and shit. They got them.
there's the unnamed pyramid in Ellsworth Mountains in Antarctica. They say it's a natural formation discovered through satellite imagery, but like nobody's been there to check it out. Like, we don't know. Especially if you consider the possibility that the Bermuda Triangle and the Marianas Trench are on complete opposite sides of the globe.
Yeah.
Like, they line up. Like, if you was to draw a line from one to the other in a 3D sphere that represented the planet, they would be completely lined up. A theory is that used to be the North and South Pole. So if you think about the North and where that would be as far as like the North and South Pole, you would flip the planet almost 180 degrees, right? And you got to think about like the curvature of the planet, because it's not a perfect sphere, it's smushed sphere because of gravity and the core of the Earth and all of that stuff. So at some point in the Earth's history, Antarctica could have been on the equator, or what was equivalent to the equator, you know?
Yeah.
So we don't, there's no way to actually tell, but it's very possible. And there's been all kinds of accounts of crazy shit in Antarctica in the North Pole, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's one. Mount Ratanj, Rtanj, Ratanj. That's in Serbia. It's a mountain in the Serbian mountains, obviously, that it's been linked to a lot of conspiracy theories and into the world beliefs, like regional stuff, because it's said to have like psychological powers or something like that. I think
It's like the Devil's Tower.
Rtanj. No, I think this is the mountain that I guess the mountain I'm thinking of is the Gankar Puensum Pensum. Gankar Pensum. It's in the Bhutan Mountains, and it's not ever been climbed. Like, it's not ever been, because it's like spooky shit. You know, it's considered very sacred, and people have tried to climb it, but like there's stories of like a group of climbers trying to climb the mountain, and they're like in their early 20s, and they just like get old and die of old age before they get to the top.
What the fuck?
And shit. Yeah, it may not be that one, but it's fucking one of them.
That's crazy.
But yeah, there's now let's go back to other stuff. There's one in Washington State, the Tum Tum Mountain, and it's actually a small volcano, but it looks a lot like a fucking mountain. And that's kind of crazy considering it's a volcano.
Yeah. Washington has many volcanoes that are still active today.
There's one in China, the Anlong County, Guangxi Province, in that area. Guazhou, Anlong County, Guangxi Province. I'm sorry, that was fucking... I apologize to the listeners because that was very offensive probably. But I don't know. I usually do pretty good at accents. Like when I do Spanish and French, you know. So, I've never tried Chinese, so that may be very offensive. That I may have been accurate. I don't know. I'm not Chinese. Maybe you're the one who is who's being offensive, Mary. Maybe my Chinese was on point. Well, it wasn't like, oh, let me eat your dog. That was offensive. Okay, it was me trying to pronounce something like a local. I more look like an idiot than a racist. You know, so which those are not mutually exclusive. Just putting that out there. Most racists are fucking idiots. I'm just an idiot, not a racist. Let's clarify that. But usually, if somebody says I'm not racist, they're probably racist. But I'm telling you guys, I'm not racist. God, this is terrible. I'm drowning. All right, so there's actually several mountains in that little range that look like man-made pyramids that have kind of eroded over time. Yeah. Like their sides are all equidistant and all that stuff. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But China, like the way that their shit works is that like, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. The Chinese history starts at like the Ming Dynasty or something like that. Like there's no like anything that happened in China before that doesn't fucking exist. They're like, no, so they don't do any kind of like archaeological digging or anything like that. And they don't allow any of that kind of thing in China. So there's no way that we're ever going to know unless we take over China. And guess what? That probably won't fucking happen.
And then try to figure out how old they are.
Yeah, there's too many fat, lazy Americans, and there's just too many Chinese people. Like, if you was to put us head to head, chances are we're gonna lose. Or we could do what we did to the Japanese and just bomb the masculinity out of their entire race, because that's pretty much what we did. I mean, that's the truth. That's what happened in World War II. That's how we ended World War II. We just bombed the masculinity out of an entire race of people. Because I don't know if you know this about World War II and the Japanese, but they were fucking people up, dude. They were doing way worse shit than the Nazis were. Unit 731, I ought to do a deep dive on that. Yeah, they were fucking way worse than they were slaughtering bloodlines, bro. They were swinging through the south of China, dicks out, fucking people up. Women, children, didn't matter. They were fucking people up. They were doing so many fucking crazy experiments on people, too. They were just like, fuck all of y'all. And then we were just like, you know what? Fuck you back. Here's an atomic bomb. Also, fun fact, UFO shit didn't start happening until we started using atomic bombs.
Oh, so, yeah. You gotta think, though, if you're a little alien just floating around out in space, you still happen to look down because you could see an explosion of that magnitude from space.
Oh, yeah, especially the first one that they dropped on Bikini Atoll. You know, that was 30 fucking megatons.
Because after that, that's when aliens started. They're like, oh, shit, these people got...
Yeah, nuclear fission or fusion, whichever fucking one it is. I think it's fusion.
We should go investigate, make sure they're not going to kill themselves along with other...
Too late. You know what I mean? We've been doing it for centuries.
Because like that gathered a higher intelligence, you know, attention.
Yeah, like like I don't know if you guys have seen Star Trek First Contact, where the crews of the Enterprise D have to go back into time with what's his name, who very first met the Vulcans because he discovered interstellar travel by creating a warp drive. And he created this warp drive, and the Vulcans were like just kind of in the area, and they caught this readings, and they're like, okay, this race has become evolved enough that we can bring them into, and that's what brought us out of the entire planet out of poverty after the Third World War, according to Star Trek. So I've seen them all. Seen all the Star Treks.
We sound like a bunch of nerds and shit.
Yeah, his name was Ephraim something. I can't remember.
It's like me when I like DM my Dungeons and Dragons games and stuff. That total like the DM nerd. Actually, on page 231 of the
page 231.
If you go to table 10-2.
Oh man! All right, so there's I've just got a couple more. I've ranted enough for one podcast. I guess I'm on one today. I don't know what happens to me. Whenever we hit that fucking red record button, it's on, baby. There's quite a few of these little pyramid mountains in South America, and a lot of them are actually mountains, but there are so many that just look like fucking
my theory
pyramids.
I've always wondered. My theory is I think they're ancient. You can see them from far away. You'd be like, oh, there's my port. Yeah. And it only make logical sense to park that bitch.
Well, also, it's like there's so many theories about like we'll just take it to the OG pyramids, the Egyptian pyramids.
Yeah.
So one of the theories out there is that the Egyptians found those pyramids. They didn't build those pyramids that are there. Because if you look at pyramids that were built after that set of 3 pyramids that we know were built by Egyptians, they do not look the same. They're not nearly as accurate, and they're very kind of hobbled together. They're not like the precision and whatnot of the pyramids. Yeah. Like one of the theories is that humans just didn't fucking build it, because the ones that we know that they did build look nothing like it.
Yeah.
They're just kind of copy, like Temu versions of the Great Pyramids, you know.
Here's your wish version.
Because we know from like historical record and all this other stuff that like Africa as a continent used to look completely different, and was probably, I mean, it is the cradle of human life, you know, the Mesopotamia and the Tigris and the Euphrates and you know, and all that shit, you know, which is actually, that's like the Middle East, but like there and the Nile and Egypt and Africa, like I mean, even looking at Africa now, if that place wasn't run by as many warlords that run it, Africa has the potential to be the most dominant continent on the planet. Number one, every person there way more athletic than me. Number two, the amount of natural resources like gold and diamonds and zinc and all of that shit that is in Africa is insane. It's like the continent of Africa has more shit than the whole rest of the fucking planet. Almost. I may have just made that stat up. So like they have the potential to be, you know, but fucking human beings being human beings, and motherfuckers just want to be rich, or hating somebody because of their religion, or fucking hating somebody because they were born 37 miles from where you were born. You know, human's gonna human, and peep's gonna peep. So now I'm gonna bring you to the one that we all know, Machu Picchu, because that shit was covered in like moss and dirt and everything.
Is that the one that's in Mexico? Or?
Yeah, Peru.
Or Peru as well.
Yeah, I mean, Peru, Mexico, it's South of America, and as Americans, we don't care what country it is. I mean, that's just what it is.
South of the border.
It's just all south of Texas to me. You know, if you what language do you speak? Spanish? Do you speak Portuguese? Can you communicate with me? Okay, cool. Otherwise, I don't care. Guess what? If you can't, I got Google Translate, but it'll get the job done. You know, it's like having to give yourself a hand job. It's not the greatest, but it'll fucking work. That place just looked like a big fucking mountain. Just looked like a mound of dirt. And then they seen at the bottom of the temple steps, there's these like snake heads that are carved, and people wondered, you know, what the fuck are these? And then they just started digging around it, and it's a city. There's a lot of shit. Like,
there's been a lot of UFO sightings around it too.
Yeah.
Or I guess UAP sightings now.
Yeah, unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Yeah, there's all sorts of.
But yeah, that concludes my topics for tonight, for this episode.
Speaking on the subject of UAPs, I did a little study here on
unidentified aerial penises. It's like getting hit in the face with dicks.
Here recently, not a few months ago, I think it was like March.
Yeah.
I think it was back March 15th, I believe.
March 15th.
I could be wrong on the date, but it was in March. And
are you talking about the New Jersey drones?
No, I'm talking about it's called the Buga Sphere.
Buga Sphere? Buga? Can you spell that for me?
It's Buga.
Buga.
It's
like Ooga Booga.
Well, they call it Buga because it's named after a town in western Colombia.
Like south of the border, Colombia?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like cocaine, Colombia.
Oh, yeah.
Cocaine. Anyways,
some of that candy.
It's recently
make my butthole sweat.
It recently gained a bunch of attention due to a mysterious object discovered in Buga, Colombia. This weird ass. Okay, so the whole thing started where this farmer was out in his field, and everybody's got phones nowadays, even if you're a farmer in Colombia. And he's out there in his tractor. He's just, minding his business.
Tractoring along.
Tractoring it up. You know what I mean? Straw hats and tractors. He's out there just tractoring it up. And he stops because he notices there's this, like cylindrical silver sphere that's just darting around. It's like flying over here, then it'll pause for a minute, and it may fly up for a little bit. It was doing these erratic maneuvers.
Now, mind you, this guy had never seen Harry Potter.
Well, I mean,
and didn't know what a golden snitch was.
It's a little bit bigger. It's a little bit bigger, and it's about the size of a basket.
Okay, cool.
And I got the weight wrote down.
So the size of my prostate.
Yeah,
just kidding.
It only weighs 4.5 pounds approximately.
4.5 pounds.
Yeah, we'll get to that here in a minute, though. But yeah, it's only 4.5 pounds. It's like roughly the size of a basketball, and it's just sitting there, floating around, not making any noise, mind you. It's just floating around, and he's like, "What the fuck?" So I guess a bunch of villagers, all because everybody, a bunch of people see this. He starts busting out his camera and starts filming it. Well, somehow, I don't know if I'm not sure what happened, but it crash lands over by some trees. This other guy, Jose, goes and picks it up.
Racist.
And this is what the reports say. This guy.
Oh, so his name was legitimately Jose. My bad. My bad. Maybe I am racist.
I think the farmer's name was like Mario or something. But yeah, this guy includes let's see here. Eventually, the sphere landed and was recovered by local individuals, including a man identified only as Jose. Upon handling the object, Jose reportedly fell ill.
Oh no!
And when water was poured on the sphere, they got videos of people pouring water on it, and it starts to evaporate like immediately. It just starts
like steam off,
like steam. Like steam's coming off of it.
Radioactive.
But weirdly enough, it's cold to the touch.
Yeah, no, that's some voodoo shit I ain't fucking with. I'm not about to get chin-gad on some fucking sphere shit.
The sphere weighs approximately 4.5 pounds and is notably cold to the touch. What makes it particularly intriguing is that the absence of welds or any kind of joints. There's no welding, there's no joint marks, there's nothing on it. It's perfectly spherical.
So it doesn't smoke. It's not 420 friendly. No, I got you. I'm sorry. That was a shitty dad pun. I apologize to the listener. That's crazy because there's been I don't know if you've ever seen anything from Bob Lazar. He worked on UFOs, or at least that's his claims, and he's always had the same story and all that shit. But one of the things he's always said about the UFO that he's seen and worked on was that there were no seams and no joints or anything. It looked like it was just machined out of a solid piece. Yeah. Like there's no line, like not lines, but like no tool marks or anything like that.
It's got etchings in it, however.
Well, I mean, yeah, but there's no like tool marks. Yeah, like etchings are etchings, but there's not like you can't tell that it was machined or anything like that.
They suggested that maybe we should X-ray it because right now it's with the Mexican government. I guess Mexico got all of it, and
yeah, but how do you know X-raying it ain't gonna fucking turn it into a fucking nuke?
Well, there's radiologist Dr. Jose Luis, was it Valquez?
Another Jose.
It's Velazquez. That's his last name. He conducted an X-ray examination of the object, revealing a high-density internal structure, and it also has 18 smaller spheres arranged in a specific pattern within the larger sphere. So they X-ray it, and they see that there's 18 smaller ones inside of it, which is weird.
I wonder if
the outer shell's density is comparable to that of human bone, adding another layer of mystery to its composition. Now, when it gets to the inscriptions and the interpretations, the surface of the sphere is etched with ancient symbols, including Ogham and
Mesopotamian?
Yeah, Mesopotamian writing systems.
Like cuneiform?
Yeah, artificial intelligence analyze AI. Basically, it took AI and it analyzed these inscriptions, and it suggests a cryptic message promoting human consciousness and environmental awareness, which is weird. That's what AI took the samples, and they're like, well, this is what it's probably meaning. And the interpreter of the message reads, this is what the message, apparently to AI, this is what the message reads: the origin of birth through union and energy in the cycle of transformation, meeting point of unity, expansion, and consciousness, individual consciousness. That's what it's weird, dude. The origin of birth through union and energy in the cycle of transformation, meeting point of unity, expansion, and consciousness, individual consciousnesses. That's according to the New York Post. That's what the AI generated when they put the characters in. Mm-hmm. Now, the public and scientific reactions to this, it's led to a divide between those who believe in it and those, that believe it to be extraterrestrial, and skeptics who consider it as probably some type of, projected hoax, somebody trying to fuck with the public and stuff. But they think it's leaning more towards extraterrestrial because on one side of it, like where all these inscriptions are, there is a almost inscription. I'll send you some pictures of it. It looks like a microchip. It looks like you're looking down at circuitry. That's what it looks like. It looks like you're looking at solder points on a circuit board.
That's crazy.
And there's this black material in the center of that is unknown to our periodic table. Like, it's not on this planet. They don't know what it is. They don't know why it's on there, and they don't, like, they're trying to figure out, they're trying to test it, and nothing on the table pops up. Like, they don't know where. That's what they're leaning more towards extraterrestrial. Like, this is something they're not familiar with. On a side note, when they did these x-rays, they also did microscopic. Like, they looked up really close, like 10,000 times, and they got these little holes, like where the metal is. Like, it's like these little porous holes, and they looked into it even deeper, and it turns out that they're fiber optic, and they're thinking that possibly these holes have to do with, like, maybe sensors. Like, they could be taking temperature, they could be taking the moisture in the air, or they could be taking, they could be taking camera feed for all we know. They could be doing audio. It is emitting a radio frequency that they discovered as well. It's putting out a radio frequency, and they don't know where it's going to, but it's just broadcasting a radio frequency, which is weird.
Yeah, that is crazy.
It's like, ET phone home type shit.
Yeah.
It's almost
just
like
sending back information.
Yeah, it's just sending back, probably, yeah, it's like Wi-Fi linked to their spaceship or whatever. But yeah, as of May 2025, the Buga Sphere remains under examination by researchers and scientists. Further testing is required to determine its composition, origin, and purpose. But yeah, even like right now, it's still under investigation. Like, they're trying to figure out, like, they're doing all these tests on it. They're trying to figure out, like it's fucking weird.
I will say this much:
Like,
trust my own government. I sure as fuck don't trust any other government.
Yeah.
So, like, any information coming out of Mexico on that thing,
yeah.
not sure if I trust it. Not sure if it's trustworthy information.
I'll send you some pictures so you can.
Yeah, you guys can look this up. It's called the Goulash Sphere.
No, it's spelled B-U-G-A.
Buga. Buga.
As in Buga,
you ever
Colombia.
seen Courage the Cowardly Dog?
Yeah.
At the beginning or the end of the opening credits, when Eustace puts on the mask and goes ooga booga booga. That's
You'll know when you see it,
Buga.
because it's all over the internet right now.
yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
What I think is crazy is the holes they discovered are fiber optic, and I mean, it makes sense. If it's a probe, it's going to be testing temperature.
Yeah.
And it's going to be, which is weird because when they put water on it, it started steaming like immediately.
Yeah.
So that's weird. It's cold to the touch.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
So I've heard you said something about the spheres inside of it. I've heard these theories about what is called a Mercury engine. And I'm not talking about, like, the vehicle Mercury. So one of these theories on these engines is pretty much you get Mercury to spin very fucking fast, like collider fast, and it can create a like a magnetic field, and you can fuck with gravity inside of that field, so like you don't have to deal with like inertia and stuff. And I wonder if those balls in there had might be something to do with that. Also, the fiber optic or whatever, like, who's to say one of those isn't a charging port, or a fueling port of some sort, and then the reason it crashed is it just fucking ran out of fuel. Like, there's no telling how long it's been up there or what. Like, if the thing could have been out, if it's so small, it wouldn't have to be very far to be out of eyesight. So the thing could have been floating around in our atmosphere for 100 years, and we never fucking know it.
Probably just collecting data
at the evolution of humans, and then it just fucking ran out of energy and said, probe has left the chat.
Probably. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean,
Buga has left the chat.
It just so happens to land in this farmer's field and shit.
Yeah, it just so happened to be right there. Right there.
He's like, what in cocaine?
He's out there tending to his poppy fields.
Yeah.
Coca plants.
After working, next thing you know, come flying out.
Yeah. Like, what the fuck?
That'd be crazy to see some shit like that, though.
Yeah.
And this ain't the first one. They've been seeing these type of orbs, like these little silver ones, since like the 70s and shit.
Well, also, like the New Jersey drones.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people said that, like, there was no obvious propulsion.
Yeah.
And they weren't like your typical fucking drone. Like, they looked like little spheres and shit. And some of them were as big as a SUV. Yeah. Just chilling, just flying around all in this fucking area.
That's shit crazy.
And I heard a conspiracy theory on that was that it was just a test to see how people would react to seeing a bunch of shit in the air like that, because aliens are are almost here. Like,
It was a test.
I don't know. I will say there's been a lot of things that point to like if aliens are gonna like really do some shit, it's gonna happen probably in the next 10 years. Like it's in my lifetime.
Yeah, could be government. Who knows?
Yeah.
They could be trying to prep us for when it does actually kick off.
Yeah.
We'll be so used to it by then. We'll be like, oh, okay, whatever. It won't be like it's shocking.
I've seen Independence Day too many times, for it to really affect me. I'm just gonna be like, what is that smell? I could have been at a barbecue. Hey everybody, Chinry here with ads. If you or someone you know would like to run an ad with the Wicked Paranormal Team or Dead Time Stories podcast, please feel free to reach out at wickedparanormalteam@gmail.com. That's wickedparanormalteam@gmail.com.